Welcome to What's Hot Harlem America with G. Keith Alexander. The crossroads where culture, lifestyle, and community meet, all hosted by the legendary New York radio TV personality and proud Harlem American, G. Keith Alexander.
Well, thank you so very, very much. Hello there. Welcome to What's Hot Harlem America with G. Keith Alexander. Wherever you are, I appreciate you for joining our neighborhood as we hang out together in Harlem, America. Now today in the What's Hot Spotlight is the legendary original sister trio, the Ladies of SKYY. Now the Ladies of SKYY, Denise, Dolores, and Bonnie, are the original female vocalists of the hit R&B funk band SKYY. With a musical career that spans more than 40 years, the sisters are more vibrant than ever, continuing the legacy of SKYY's music and delighting national and international audiences with their dynamic and engaging live performances. Ladies of SKYY, welcome and thank you for coming to Harlem, America.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Well, certainly
we're ecstatic.
It's certainly my pleasure. I'm telling you, I've been waiting for this for a long time. And finally, we were able to work out the dates and everything. And it's so good to see you. So my first question is, how have you been holding up during this pandemic?
Woo, well, I think we've been holding up relatively well. Thank heavens for the sisterhood, because we've got this built-in support system to not be, a lot of people I think were affected by isolation and loneliness and just the inability to, have human contact. Exactly. And we've very fortunate that because we keep everything so close and we've been able to interact constantly with one another and with our family. We actually had a round of COVID.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. And it was so crazy because it was a weekend my daughter was going to have us all up at her house in Pennsylvania for a family barbecue. For just a family dinner. And we all looked at each other and said, we can't go.
That's the end of that. Well, it's interesting. It's the asymptomatic people you have to concern yourself with. So I had one person, that was one of my young men was going back and forth to work, and we figured out that's how we wound up getting it because he was asymptomatic the whole time. But thank God we transcended that. No serious health, issues for any of us. We pretty much over it. We've all been vaccinated. Yep. So we've all been vaccinated. We've all been fully vaccinated. So, we've held up pretty well. Professionally, we've just kept ourselves busy, doing new music and, doing some fun stuff. So,
and actually we kind of miss, performing. COVID took away, any and all of the shows that we had, they had lined up for Ladies of SKYY. So that was a little disheartening.
But we did do one.
But
you did?
You do an outside concert in New
one.
Jersey. But it was sort of like in August. So it was like toward the mid part of 2020, after we got shut down. And we did get a chance to do at least one live performance, which was really pretty nice because they did protocols. They took everybody's temperature. They made sure that, people were distanced, had their chairs distances apart. And it was at least we got to do one. Some people haven't gotten a chance to do any at all.
Well, let me ask you this, because you've spent so many years traveling and on the road, spending this much time at home, did you discover any new things about yourself or any hobbies or anything that you wanted to do but never got a chance to do?
Listen, the thing that I need to do is walk. What I've discovered is that there are a lot of things that just came naturally, like going back and forth on a day-to-day basis. And now being basically shut in, I didn't do anything different other than discovering that we actually know how to write music. And so, yeah. I mean, we've been performers, of course, but we haven't had a whole lot of writing experience. And that's one of the things, Bonnie, that we've had a chance to explore, right?
To do that. I mean, years ago, Denise and I wrote a song on one of our albums, but as she said, during this time, our musical writing talent has come back into play. I know I found out that I could be an assistant teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Because my granddaughters, I have two granddaughters, 12 and 14, and the remote learning. So I found out that I knew a whole lot about the Civil War that I didn't know, that I never even cared about learning. And so I found that was, and I have to applaud the parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, caregivers that are sitting home with these kids. I give kudos to the teachers without a doubt, but sometimes they forget about those who are home each and every day with these children, and now they have to go back to school as well to help these kids through this remote learning. So I found out that, I cleaned the cobwebs out and decided now I got to be an assistant teacher. So that was one of the things that really was new, to me, that now I have to get back on the ball with that. And
how about you, Dolores?
Well, I found out that retirement is a wonderful thing. Well, I was working from home too, and then my firm decided in August that they didn't need as many attorney support assistants that they needed before.
Oh yeah, day jobs, by the way.
Right.
People may not be aware.
Exactly.
That we have our music career, and then we have the career that makes sure that the lights are on and things are paid. So we have.
And so they offered each of the United States offices a voluntary separation package. So girlfriends and I got together, all of us who were retirement age, and we said, what y'all gonna do? And we sat and we thought about it, and I said, okay, works for me, because I was gonna do it this year anyway. What's coming down the pike? They're gonna start laying people off, and then this package goes out the window. So we said, let's take this money and run. So I decided that being retired is even good because I'm doing more stuff in my apartment. I'm getting things done. I'm putting shelves up. I'm putting, backsplashes up. I'm just making my space a little more cozy for me.
Well, that's great. So I tell you what, let's take the Wayback Machine and let's go back to Brooklyn when the Dunning sisters were learning how to sing. Talk to us about that. What was that like?
Oh my goodness. So since we were little girls, there was always music in our house. Our mom and dad loved we had albums, and daddy and mommy were into the stereo system, and we had music in the house all the time. Arthur Prysock, Ella Fitzgerald. We listened to that, since we were little kids. And we always sang in the house. So we were very fortunate that in school, we had very rich music programs. And in particular at our high school, FDR High School, they had an excellent choral program. They actually at that time prepared you for something called All City, which was a huge chorus that used to exist back in the day. So we loved to sing. We always sang in the house. We sang at school, in front of the mirror.
Driving our mother crazy.
We sang at weddings.
Yeah, weddings. Yeah, we were influenced so much by the artists of the 60s and the 70s. We decided we would form us a little group, and we were the Sounds of Soul first, right?
And there was
4 of us.
There was 4. At first it was 3 of you,
right?
And because I didn't sing with them at first.
Oh, really?
Denise, Dolores, and our very good friend of ours named Deborah. I was a clarinet player.
Really?
And went to a talent show and saw the 3 of them singing. And I said, that is what I want to do. And so I came into the high school after we all had the same teacher, and, the rest was history. Then it was 4 of us.
I see.
We were very fortunate again to have that musical training.
Yes.
You know, in high school, we learned how to sing properly. And I attribute that to the reason why our voices are still pretty good to this day, because we learned early on, you know, how to sing properly. But Brooklyn was just such a rich mix of everything.
Funk,
and
R&B.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just fortunate that we came out of that melting pot of music, you know, and that we sang with little different bands or what have you. And our mom and dad did encourage that singing. They weren't going to let us go off nowhere, but they did encourage our artistic ability.
Well, for those who may be listening, and we have folks listening all across the country as well as internationally, who may not be as familiar with you as they should be, or maybe aren't old enough, your unique stage presence and tight harmonies combine the influences from the male and female groups that you listened to in the 60s and 70s, like you said, Denise, and your fashion style came from some of them, and as well as your dance moves. Can you talk to me about who some of the influences were?
Oh my goodness. Unific, Delphonics, Ray Goodman and Brown, Temptations,
Main Ingredient,
yeah.
Dramatics, Enchantment.
Yes.
We can go on and on with the, you know, we loved our female groups, but it was just something about the male groups, the dancing, the choreography, the harmonies, and because of the way we were taught, you know, we were taught to sing in harmony, and then we liked that, you know, watching Ed Sullivan, Ted Mack Original Culture Hour.
Now that's taking them way back, buddy.
Going way back.
That's the way back machine.
Yeah, because when you watch people who performed on those shows, I think, so we learned about stage presence without even realizing that it was an aspect of you know, of performing. Because when you watch, even going back to Patty Maxine and Laverne, the McGuire sisters, you know, watching all of those people, the Lennon sisters,
the stylization of how they
dressed, you know, making
and
sure
how they looked,
good.
you know, to your audience, and how they entertain, even with, you know, like with facial expressions and how they all move together, which made it so much smoother for us to fall into space. And they weren't, I mean, the girl groups were nice, you know, Martha and the Vandellas and, you know, the Supremes,
you know, they were cute, you know, but the male groups,
show. They were stylish, they were suave, and it just like, you could be mesmerized just by watching everybody's feet and watching the hand movements.
So you're talking of like groups like the Temptations and the Four Tops and
absolutely.
Incredible.
Yes, those groups were, I think,
Smokey
most influential to us. And that's the things we tried to emulate. So all of our shows, as soon as we would learn a song, or as soon as we knew what our song set was in Sky, then we would immediately get to work, you know, creating a choreography. And the early days, you know, the three of us would be the ones who would come up with the, as we call them, steps.
We don't call it choreography.
It wasn't choreography back then. It was, what steps are we going to do with this song? And then later on, of course, we were fortunate to get some really great choreographers when we started going to Alvin Ailey, and we were able to, you know, pull, we had T. Ross, we had Douglas, Frazier, who choreographed the Start of a Romance. But we were prepared for them. You know, when they came on the set, it was just okay, what moves we want to do? Then we started to learn what they were called. You know, we didn't know what they were called. Kick, step, turn. Oh,
Incredible. So you did some dance training at Alvin Ailey.
Yes,
we were at Alvin Ailey for almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years, actually.
Just prior to the Call Me tour, I believe it was, because that tour we needed to be prepared for a 13-month tour with Kool and the Gang. But yes, we Solomon. You know, I love Solomon Roberts, as you know, was the head of Sky.
Right.
He wanted to always take things help us take things to the next level. And so when we started doing the Alvin Ailey, not only did it train us in terms of stamina, because we were taking a body conditioning class, but we were doing jazz class and modern. Right. We didn't do the ballet part.
No. And we did Pilates.
Not these people.
And the Pilates, yeah. So it kept us really in great shape and much more, the stamina was built up as a result, so we could go out there and, get an hour and a half show. Because if you're dance moving like that, you gotta be prepared.
Yes.
Gotta be prepared.
You gotta be prepared. Well, do you remember Sherelle Mesh at Alvin Ailey? She was one of the principal dancers.
No, you know what? It's interesting. We didn't really meet a lot of the dancers because we were in classes,
okay. Gotcha.
Necessarily interact with them. But I'll tell you, we were the crack-ups in the classes because most of the young people—
They were young.
Well, most of the young people we were older than them. But most of the young people in the classes were preparing themselves to move into the Ailey
or
troupe,
into other dance troupes.
We were just there simply to, build up what we were doing for our music.
Right.
So we were not as poised and, quite as serious about it as they were. And to the delight of our teachers,
Yeah, right.
She always make us
because
go.
Wendy Amos, they would crack up at us because
Yeah.
we're like, I cannot do that.
And that was a Pilates
No,
class,
I cannot bend over here.
Yeah.
But T. Ross, she used to do like what they called across the floor at the end of the class. So she would have, like a pair of people, going across the floor to do the steps. And
You were the only one that could do it. As I recall, Dolores has a dance background.
But then she had the three of us go together. Because I got to get y'all.
Yeah, get y'all out the way.
Okay. Well, we're winding down for this particular segment. We've got about a minute or so left. And I just want to remind everyone that we're sitting here with the lovely Ladies of SKYY. And we've got another, I guess about another 40 minutes to go. So stick around, and we've got some interesting things to reveal. Like when we come back, I want to talk about how we ended up doing our show together. And that was the first time that I got a chance to meet you guys. And we'll talk about that when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much for tuning in to What's Hot Harlem America with G. Keith Alexander. And we'll be right back with more of the Ladies of SKYY. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much, Kever. That's Kever Bernay, a wonderful voice talent, and she is out in California, a nice actress as well. So thank you.
I like her voice. Ooh,
It's a
smooth,
soothing voice.
Yeah.
See? Oh, great. Okay, so I chose the right voice then. Great. So let's talk about, I got a chance to host be the MC for my first beauty pageant. I've done a couple since then, but this was my first beauty pageant. I got a chance to be like Bert Parks on Miss America. So this was the 1973 Miss Black America beauty pageant of New York State. And I was the MC. And on the show, now, was it the first time you used the name? No, let's see. Talk to me.
I think we were Sounds of Soul then.
Okay, so you were Sounds of Soul. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, all right.
That's what we had on, because my mother made the dresses that we wore.
Okay.
That's when we had first started singing with Randy Muller, and then Saul was in the background taking pictures all over the place. Yeah, it was.
And they didn't think that, that was our first introduction to Randy Muller. Actually, the musical director, the guy who was getting the talent, the pageant director, we used to babysit for his kids. He told Randy, I got these 4 girls. These girls can really sing. And Randy was like, well, yeah, okay, let me hear And we auditioned with Temptations, Old Man River, and acapella.
Blew his mind.
And when we finished singing that
That's
song,
right.
there was this silence,
over there.
and he said, "They can sing." Can sing, and not only can they sing, and right after this, they're going to be the opening act for Brass Construction. That's what's going to happen.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay.
That is exactly how we met Randy.
That's right.
Okay, so I saw you guys on the show, but of course, you guys were newbies, so I didn't pay too much attention.
Yeah.
I was at WBLS at the time,
That's
and I got a chance to look at your unsung episode, and congratulations on your unsung
Thank you.
episode.
Thank you.
And in the episode, they showed a poster of the event, the entire event. And I was surprised to see my photo right there on your unsung. Yeah, my photo is on the poster in your unsung episode.
Look at that.
See?
You see? So that just shows you how, well, come on. We're from the New York music community.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And as you well know, there was so much talent in New York in terms of the radio station, because at that time BLS was just kicking.
Yes.
And so you guys were what everyone aspired to be played on that radio station.
Right.
And we didn't even have a record yet then at that moment.
Right.
But certainly, it went hand in hand. So I love the fact that our career started with you in the mix.
Yes.
That's
And I actually
amazing.
said to Denise, there was an event, a party that we had gone to when we were Sky, and there is a picture of us with you.
Really?
I said we just did not have the time to find the picture so that we could have showed it to you, but that was, I don't remember if it was a grand event or what kind of event, party it was, but all of you guys were there, you, Vaughn Harper, Ken Webb, and so we were taking pictures with each and every one of you. So like Denise said, just goes to show that was 1973 that poster came from. So
Yes.
now 2021. So look how long.
Incredible. Now, Bonnie, you also were getting ready to mention to me right before we started the show that I've interviewed you guys before as well.
Yes, that's right. And I just can't remember the year, but that is when we were getting interviewed by Vaughn Harper and Ken Webb, and and you have always been a great supporter of Sky music, and you just don't know how much we appreciate that, because if it wasn't for iconic radio personalities such as yourself, I don't think we'd be sitting here today.
Yes, because you know what, we can appreciate that you really validated the fact that we belong in this industry.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of one-hit wonders, people come and go in the business, but to have you guys recognize us, and it took a while for us to really, as Sky, believe it or not, to be recognized in the New York radio station. Yeah,
we really had us down.
We had very beginning, we had greater support from UHR in DC and DAS. Yeah, we broke more down there, but once we got going, us, and oh my goodness, that meant the world to us.
These are hometown
It
girls.
really did. Hometown girls is right.
Yeah. Well, well, thank you for making that acknowledgement. I really appreciate it.
Definitely.
And I'm sure, we used to, during the 80s, we were skating to your music, Call Me, and all those various wonderful R&B, funk, groove songs. We were roller skating, we were dancing in discotheques. I mean, you guys were the bomb, okay? Now, when you look back at the unsung episode and you see yourselves from back then, what do you think?
Oh my goodness. Well, first I think how grateful I am to still be here.
Yes.
To enjoy looking back, but I also reminisce about the fun that we had doing it.
Yes.
I cannot tell you how much we have enjoyed this musical ride that we've been on. And we have nothing but the fondest of memories of our time with the Gentlemen in Sky. And let me just mention everybody's name.
Yes.
Solomon Roberts, Butch Sierra, Gerald LeBone, Tommy McConnell, Larry Greenberg, Wayne Willens, and Vinnie DiPaolo. Those the three. The last three were our keyboard players that over the years. What a great group of individuals and musicians. And so we're just so grateful for the talent that they had and the camaraderie that we had with them.
Yeah, we were family. It wasn't, the girls and the band. We were family, all 8 of us. We fought together, laughed together,
we cried together.
and we were just family.
Yes.
Now, I did not know that, we played brass construction regularly, but I had no idea that you guys were singing background for brass construction also.
Some of the songs,
So that's, as you mentioned, we met Randy Muller at the Miss Black America New York State pageant. And I'm telling you, the relationship literally, like I think the following week, he was already bringing us down into the basement at Solomon's, right? Were we going to Solomon's yet? No.
The hole in was it the hole in the ground or the hole?
That was
Solomon's.
That was Solomon's basement. That was the Hole in the Ground Studios was Solomon's basement. But when we first met Randy, we thought Solomon was just a photographer because he was a good friend of Randy's. But Solomon would always be around with the camera around his neck. So we never even knew Solomon was a musician.
Yes.
But we started working with Randy. They had a community center where they used to rehearse.
But they also had a basement too. One of the guys in brass construction, Paris. I knew it was wild. I could see that basement in my head.
Yes. That's why it's good. 3 sisters, because somebody remembers something. Okay, so we would rehearse either at Paris's or at the community center. And Randy early on saw our raw talent, and so we were the opening act for brass construction
for a very long time.
And then when Randy started producing other groups, Raphael Cameron, Mark Radice, and Charles Erland, he used us for the background vocals for all of their songs, a lot of their material that he was producing.
Okay, so now things changed in 1976. That's when the band Sky was formed.
Yes. So that's when he introduced. He reintroduced us to Solid. Solid has a band. So Brass Construction got their record deal with Capitol Records. And there were 9 of them, sometimes 10. So that was a rather unwieldy number of people, to now hit the road. And then the style of their music didn't exactly support vocalists being along. So he introduced us to Solomon, and that's when we got together and formed Sky. And I'm telling you, who would have known that the result would be 9 albums
later.
And a gold single, gold album. It was just a thing that I guess was just supposed to happen,
Yeah.
Well, okay, so now how did life change for you though when Call Me became such a big hit?
I'm going to tell you, life, we were, rehearsing and whatever, and then we get this call saying they want you in California on Soul Train, and this had to be maybe about 3 weeks or so after Call Me came out, and they said it's gold.
And I couldn't.
Really?
Yes.
It was just
within 3 weeks. The album was so hot that Soul Train called us and said, we want you guys on the show. And then that's when I think the penny dropped that this thing is about to take off like a rocket ship. And so we had to hurry up and pull some choreography together because we hadn't even gotten that far. And then once it hit Soul Train, that was it.
Then we get
that song took off, and we got the call for the tour.
With Kool and the Gang.
Wow. But now, Call Me was sort of a liberation. It was sort of a liberation song for
Don't you say
it.
Sort of a liberation
Bonnie is so
song.
sensitive to that.
Really?
Bonnie regrets that we said those words, but
well, I'm not going to say it, but tell me what the response was like.
So you know what? It's funny, GK. It wasn't until Randy we did the video.
when
we did the unsung, that Randy let it be known that the reason why he came up with that song is because Ken Carey said, "Come on, you guys are much too sweet, much too clean. You know, your persona is like these squeaky clean good people, and try to find something, you know." So he said he took the concept from the soap operas, and he said this is where he came up with the idea, you know, to have the girlfriend talking to the boyfriend of the friend. Okay. But
all right. Okay.
Yes. But I still say to this day, we've had no one come up to us and be angry about the song. You know, you would think women would be like, "Why would you say such a thing?" But no, everybody really kind of understands and gets that it's kind of it's kind of supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be tongue in cheek, and you don't necessarily have to be so serious about, you know, what it's talking about. But everybody loves that song, and I'm telling you, that thing went to #1 so fast. Gold album, gold single.
We never worked so hard. I mean,
really?
That 13 months on the road with Kool and the Gang. And, you know, sometimes we'd be with other, you know, groups or whatever, but our main tour was with Kool and the Gang. And it was the highlight
of our existence.
I missed the first part of it.
Absolutely the
But
highlight.
once I jumped in, it was like whirlwind.
Yeah, because when we recorded the video for Call Me,
yes,
Dolores was pregnant, and she knew she hadn't quite revealed it to the rest of us.
I had to have a conversation with my doctor because there were some issues, and she said, "Well, you can go,
but you can't dance.
But you can't dance. You'll have to sit on a stool." I said, "But that makes no sense." Like, so how am I, you know, I'm already in the video. How am I going to go all the way to California? She said, "Well, I'm just telling you, you can go, but you can't dance." And I was like, "Oh, fool."
So what'd you do?
That was,
we
came in on afterwards.
We got a person to cover for Dolores, Dorothy Bragg. And she was there basically for most of the TV shows and for the first part of the tours. And then once Dolores had that lovely Anissa, who is now the biggest, she's our hair person now.
Who's now 30.
Oh, great. Okay.
She said she's 30, right? She's 39. Right. But yeah, so and then Dolores rejoined us, and we finished off the tour. We finished off that tour.
Yes, and it was it really showed us what the road really was about. Mm-hmm. We were so fortunate to be on the road with nothing but pure gentlemen, professionally and personally. And we always say we cannot thank Kool and the Gang enough for allowing us to open for them and just to be the people that they were to us on the road.
Yeah. They were really hot back then. I mean, really, really hot back then. So you couldn't have had a better tour to go. Robert Bell was on the show. Kool was on the show a few months back.
I listened to it. He was talking about that champagne.
Yes. Let's give a plug for Le Kool champagne.
Le Kool. I'm running right out to get some right now.
You know, sometimes I often wonder, you know, with all the different interviews and whatever that we do, I don't think they realize that with every interview we do, we always
talk about them.
Talk about that.
That's fantastic. That shows your gratitude. That shows your gratitude.
Yes.
So ladies, we're winding down for our last segment. Is going to be coming up shortly, but I want to take this time to remind everyone that we're listening to the Ladies of Sky. If you just joined us, and we've got another little segment to reveal some more information about their life, loves, and career. But I just want to say hi to my listeners in Harlem, my brothers and sisters around the country, and those in other countries around the world. And I also wait a minute, did I repeat myself? Did I say countries twice? No. Oh, okay, good.
Perfect.
Good. I thought I was repeating myself there for a moment.
No, sir, you are perfect.
Okay. Well, Harlem, America is a community, it's a destination, and a state of mind. And people, they love being here. They love visiting here in Harlem, and we enjoy having folks enjoy our rich culture. So on that note, and I thought I repeated myself, but the ladies say I didn't. We'll be right back with more of the Ladies of Sky on What's Hot Harlem, America with G. Keith Alexander. That's me, by the way.
Yeah.
We're here with the Ladies of Sky. And so, that was your story so far has been wonderful. But all of a sudden, the music stopped. The music stopped. What happened? Tell us.
Wow. Well, I tell you what. What happened was the nature of music and the style and genre of music started to change. We left the funk band era and started to move into more sampling of music as done a la, the hip hop community. Musicianship, I believe, was no longer at the forefront. It was, I think, more economically feasible for record companies to support hip hop artists because it was less, like there were 8 of us, there were 9 in brass construction. Look at the Commodores, look at any of those acts back then, they were larger bands. And then the style of music changed. So the 90s brought in the more slick, sly, New Jack Swing type of sound. And I believe record companies just decided that they weren't going to support the type of music that we were that we were doing. And we also noticed that there were rumblings in the back. They were trying to change, I believe, our sound and our style, and they were bringing in other producers. If you look at our last album, we had other producers, which some of that stuff I thought was really good. Sky's the Limit in particular was a really great song.
Tear Down These Walls.
There was a lot of good music.
But I don't know that we were reaching the usual core audiences that we used to interest prior to that. So the next thing we knew, we no longer had a record deal. And I guess Solomon and Randy, after so many years, decided that that was the sunset of Sky. And it was a bit of a shock to us because we'd been at South Soul Records. Never saw it coming. But there was always this, we're going to get another record deal. When South Soul demised, we got the deal with Capitol. That came and went. But then when we got with Atlantic, we were really like, this is going to be great,
It was a lot going on.
But then a younger set of, not just the hip hop, a younger set of artists started to emerge.
Yeah,
With
next generation.
The next generation with more, and I'm just going to use popcorn for lack of a better word, a popcorn.
More electronic stuff,
sound,
synthesizer,
and so
not just the band.
Like Niecy said, the musicianship came because we were kind of in shock when we did the last album on Atlantic. that we were going in the studio and the guys were,
Where's
and
the
the
guys?
music was
Yeah, they
already
were
done.
they were using mostly instruments,
Right.
keyboards to create bass sounds and all of this kind of
Right.
stuff. So it was kind of moving the real musicians out of the
Out of
picture.
the picture.
So, hey, it sort of happened. We thought that we were going to come back, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, right.
And
We continue with our day jobs.
thank heavens for the day job, folks.
Okay, now what type of day jobs do you each have?
So I've been a legal secretary since I graduated high school. And excuse me.
Is that where you met Austin?
I met Austin at a law firm, actually, when we were just about to record the last album, the Nearer to You album.
Right.
Is when I met my husband. Yes, at a law firm. Dolores worked for a law firm. Bonnie works for.
Yeah, and prior to that, I worked at the hospital. I worked at Bethesda Medical Center.
Oh, really?
It's funny because at one point, all three of us worked in the same
office. Yeah.
For different companies, it was really weird.
and sat like,
A couple of desks from each other.
and
Yeah,
people
it's
said,
crazy.
how
Can you
in the-
imagine that place? Can you imagine?
people said, how in the world do y'all get any work done? And
We
We
did.
were good at what we did.
But
But that was a different era of
Yeah.
time. See,
Right.
they had the thing called the temp agency back then.
Right, right.
So as long as you had the skills, we would be on the bus
We worked
sometimes
all the
coming
time.
back from a tour, and we'd call and say, I'm back. Can I get a job for Monday? And they would be like, we got you, Denise. We got you, Dolores. We got you, Bonnie, because we were really good at what
Right,
we
and
did.
the only time we didn't go to work like that was when we were on the Cool and Gang tour,
Yeah.
because we didn't have time.
We did, right.
You know
right.
what I'm
a
saying?
full
We
year,
wasn't coming home for a month or two.
right.
We were coming
Mhm.
for a weekend and then, maybe going back
So
out.
we were very fortunate
All
when we
legal
came
secretaries.
up that last tour. When 96 came,
Right,
I was temping. So then I said, well, I went into HR and said, okay, so I'll be here for a while.
right.
And
I
they
was
did the
temping.
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was temping and then I went, where I was temping at, I became full-time and permanent, and then turned around and started working with Denise in her law firm. That's how I met Austin.
Mhm.
I was working for United Jewish Appeal at one time, and that's where I met Terry Rossi, because she was my supervisor at the time.
Okay.
And then right after one of our other albums, and she said, I'm out. That's when she started working for
For
Billboard.
Right.
And then she introduced me to Joe Jocko. So I was working for his marketing firm for a minute. So I was,
Yeah. So we,
you know,
we
and
kept
I
up.
learned a lot.
that's
about
what we
marketing.
did
So
after,
like
right.
just went in.
After,
We just started
we
working.
just started working. And
Became regular people. It just became regular people. Okay, so whose idea was it to reemerge as the Ladies of Sky?
Austin.
All his fault.
Yeah, wait a minute. Okay, so
all together now. 1, 2, 3. Austin.
okay, so that was before Austin became your manager.
No, well, interestingly,
It was her husband that he was husband.
well, right, he was husband, but Austin, because he comes from the hip hop era,
Right.
so he's
And
got that
DJ.
music, and he's a DJ. He's got
Right.
that music in
Right.
his blood, and he always had this real great depth of appreciation for Sky's music. He would remind me almost ad nauseum that our music was hip hop. He says, you don't understand. Your music touched the lives of his generation. So I'm talking about the 50s, well, he's in his 50s now.
Right.
The 90s people
Right.
were touched by our music in great depth, because they used to mix, we don't need no music. A lot of our stuff was major for them. So he knew that we still could sing. He knew that we still loved the business
He
and we
knew we
loved
could still
performing.
move around.
And so he was just like, you know what? And thank goodness he went to Randy and to Solomon, and he got all
those
the
masters.
tracks. And that's how we started becoming Ladies of Sky. And we didn't think much of it at the time.
At the time.
You
But
know, we
then
were
we
doing
started-
little local things
Yeah,
here and
local
there,
things
but
here and there.
he's the king of the phones, and put us out there to the point that we've been to Nigeria, we've been to France.
Yeah.
Ladies of Sky has become a thing,
Wow. Okay, so now, ladies, I'm going to ask you individually this question.
Okay.
And I want the absolute
Truth?
yes, there you go. And I'm,
Oh my goodness.
and I'm going to start. And I'm going to start with Bonnie. Bonnie,
Okay.
what have you given up or sacrificed for your success?
Nothing.
Good answer. Okay. All right.
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. All right.
Not a thing.
Denise, what have you given up or sacrificed for your success?
I can say honestly that we have given up nothing for our success because we've always stayed grounded. See, a lot of people become somebody else or something else when they become successful. And so they leave a lot of maybe important things
And
behind.
people behind.
But the way our mother raised us to be humble and to always understand that anything that's coming to you is a blessing and that you shouldn't take that for granted. So what do I have to really give up? I mean, there is nothing to give up because I was able to live and be myself throughout this entire thing. I did not have to become somebody else or something else in order to enjoy this career and the success that we've enjoyed.
And Dolores, do you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, there was times when I felt really crazed because I was home and I was seeing them on American Bandstand and shows that I always wanted to go on. But the reward of having my daughter at a time when I knew things were going to be really, really moving and making sure that she was going to be okay, it balanced out. Because at the end of the day, when I went back on the road, nothing stopped. My husband at the time and his family and my family took care of Anissa. So I didn't have to worry about anything going on. As Denise said, our mother taught us how to balance things out. So giving up, give up what?
And even for Bonnie, you know, our mom, we were just very fortunate. Our mom being very supportive. And so even for Bonnie's son, you know, did she give up her relationship with her son?
Not at all.
Because he was in the care of our mom.
And
so he got raised just like we,
they would come to shows.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
They would bring, because he had to go and stay with them because I'm on the road. You know, if we were anywhere in the South Carolina, down south area, my mother, they would pack them up. They would come. When I had opportunities where I had a break, either he was up here or I was down there.
Yes.
So there was really nothing, like Denise said, that you had to give up. You don't give up of yourself. That was, like Denise said, that was the main thing.
You don't turn into some
We didn't turn into somebody else because of our success.
Yeah.
We're
still the same.
People.
We're still, you know, I tell people that we're like three little girls in a tub. You know, when we were little, Mom used to put us all in the bathtub together. Well, we don't do that quite now.
Not big enough.
The mentality of it.
But you know what that sort of belies is the three of us are always together. We looked out for one another. We look out for one another's families. And we look out for one another's good nature and well-being.
And our sanity.
Right. So, nothing.
So, all right. So now, as we wind down, give me a little funny story that you guys can remember having been on the road.
On the road?
Yes.
Oh, I got a real funny one.
Go ahead.
Dolores and I talk about this all the time. So we were in Germany, in the airport. See?
This is hysterical.
We're in Germany in the airport, right? And so we go in, you know,
and Ronald said,
hurry up, go in the bathroom, because we got to get the bags or whatever we had. The bags or whatever we had to get, right? So we go in the bathroom, right? So me and Dolores is in the bathroom. I hear her come out, and I'm in there. with the trying to get out of the bathroom. And so, and they said, Dolores said, well, come on. I said, I can't get out of the stall. So the next thing I knew, she said, here, get me. I see her.
Boosted me over.
Denise.
Everyone looking at us like we are lost our minds.
And she's in there trying to get me out of the bathroom stall. And Ronald is knocking on the bathroom door. Girls.
Wow.
We got some serious maintenance going on in here.
Oh, gee. Well, ladies, this has been wonderful. We've got about 90 seconds, but I want to thank you, and I also want to thank Austin for making this possible. And you know, this has been a great reunion of sorts for us. And I wish you great on upcoming projects. Anything real quickly? We got about 30 seconds.
Yes, we have a song that's going to be released in June. It's on the AP Connections album, Wide Vision. Austin and I got to co-write on it. Ladies of SKYY doing the vocals on it. Yeah. And we've got a couple of other songs that we're working on. So we're hoping by mid-July, you might be able to hear some new Ladies of SKYY stuff.
Well, thank you very, very much. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to Harlem, America, and listening to the What's Hot Harlem America show with G. Keith Alexander. And I just want to say, have a great day and a better one tomorrow. And don't judge your brother or sister too harshly until you've walked a mile in his or her shoes. And remember, life is tough, but you're tougher, especially during COVID. I'll talk to you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.